All right, guys, welcome today. Everything in this video is not financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything is just for entertainment, education, and competing purposes only. Bear in mind that I eat red crayons for breakfast. Please remember not to trade more than you can afford to lose. And please especially be aware of leverage trading during these high volatile times as we get into some of the more prophetic events. A lot of the charts will stop and cease from their current versions because there's a lot of external factors we have to work with. So please read between the lines per my YouTube disclosure. I'm not a financial advisor. Okay. Before we go into all your requests, I am going to cover Bitcoin because I wanted to start off with Bitcoin anyway. Bitcoin is still in a position of weaknesses, guys. You can see that we did spike all the way back up to this line here. This is that monthly line that is years old. This blue line right here is years and years and years and years and years and years old. Okay, as I showed you guys before, this line is very, very old. So when price starts trading underneath that blue line, it's a big deal. And guess what? Still, price is responding to its tiger line. So we came up, and now this almost constitutes a round structure. In fact, I would say it's round structure because you're now rounding and hitting the underside of this monthly line. And I mean, sorry, of this line. Now, this line is also the same on the monthly chart as well as the weekly chart. So if I were to look quickly at this chart and change it from 1 day to 1 week as well as 1 month, you're both going to see all of them are underneath this blue line. Here, we closed just right underneath the blue line. Try to come back up, hit the top, no dice. This one came up, hit the top, could not stay. That's the weekly chart. Now look at, and I'll just take a quick screenshot so you guys can see it. This is a huge deal. Here's the monthly. This month, this month right here is this. There's 3 days left on this candle. There's only 3 days left for this candle to close up here. You're done. Bitcoin has shown severe weakness by coming under this line. I don't care if it tries to go up. I don't care if there's a big pump on it. This is a big deal for Bitcoin. Weakness on Bitcoin. All right, guys, this is weakness. I don't care if it goes up. If it goes up, we're probably going to hit this line up here, which is the highest tiger. The next one above that, which is our main target, which is this one up here. And I'm going to put it on the same day. So I'm giving you the highest numbers. I actually don't have to move that one. It's already here. So these are the highest numbers that it should hit. Okay. If it goes higher than that, I'm still expecting closes on these numbers. Okay. I don't want you guys to be fooled if you see Bitcoin ultra spike just before the big dump in the market. And this is for price to closes below these areas. It's not healthy, team. It's not healthy. The most we can do is probably play around 18,000, maybe come up and spike this 23 one more time. But the truth is it's already game over. It already showed what it's doing. So at this moment, I'm just looking probably for a short entry, and I'm gonna ride and have a short bag of Bitcoin all the way down. I want to have some money for Bitcoin, so if you want to take a small portion on Bitcoin, just remember there's prophetic words that there will be a big pump on Bitcoin to a higher number right before its final dump. But at the moment, I still think you're gonna have this stuff. Prophetic stuff aside, I think you're still gonna have this down movement in not so long. 3 days is all you got until this candle closes, and I don't think there's any hope unless you close above that line on the next 3 days. I don't think you're going to get it unless you close on that line in the next 3 days. I think it's not going to be long before you hit 14, before you build some structure, crash below, then hit 10, and then once you hit 10, you're going to hit those prophetic numbers down to low numbers, possibly the $500, possibly $100, possibly $1. Some people say that even saw it go to 0. Will you get filled on your exchanges? I want you guys to all pray about it. Everyone in this group already has a low Bitcoin order at very low numbers. We want to have low Bitcoin orders, either $1. I have some at around the $200 level. So if price spikes to here, even just for a low time, I believe it's going to be due to a hack or some type of glitch. I believe it's going to be due to primarily a hack, though. And when this happens, it's going to be just down for a short amount of time, and then it's going to recover. But still, the market's going to be reeling because we're only going to recover to about $10,000. And I have some support lines here at 10,000 besides that. So some of the prophetic tells us we're going to be recovering only about to 10. In my dream, I saw that when we recovered, we only recovered and got to around 11,000, around the high 11,000s. Or that's where the number I saw it in my dream at. So I saw we go back to 11,000. Here I have a high of what, 10,482, a low of 10,385. Somewhere around these $10,000 levels where I expect Bitcoin to come up. And then Prophet Robin said early in the year, some type of prophecy when he was God showed him about this flash crash or this hack or crypto winter. He said something about subpar recovery. So the recovery won't be exactly what you want it to be when it does recover from these hacks. Bitcoin at least. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions about Bitcoin?
I have a question, Jay. For example, you were mentioning the monthly candle, right?
Yep.
Let's say, for example, if it spikes down to 14,000,
okay,
and before the month is over, or the monthly candle, it closes against 18K, would that be like a sign of a possible reversal, or because it would be closing against like a hard close?
So just say we spike in the next 3 days. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like before the month is over, or let's say the next day, and then before the pretty much when the candle closes, it closes against 18K. Would that be considered a hard close and possible reversal?
It would give me hope for the first few weeks of October.
Yeah, I was just thinking because the thing about like the people that have had dreams that Bitcoin goes to 41,000. To me, it looks like it's like a mystery because it doesn't show up in the charts, right?
I would say that a close at 18 would make this look like a long red candle. Okay, it would make it. We've almost already come close to 18, didn't we? Look, yeah, we already did 18,138. So we almost hit my number. So you don't really need to hit 18 anymore. That already fulfilled any prophetic versions of 18 that you may have needed to hit. But if you close under 18, it would need to close significantly under, for it to. And then you would see another candle shoot up to back to 18, and then you would see it come down. So if you close below 18, it needs to be low enough so that it'll retest. Otherwise, if it just closes right on there, then generally it'll be a principle of a hard close, and you may see a little bit of bullishness in the first few weeks of October, possibly. And it could happen in still a day. Okay, I'm just letting you know the general principles. The next candle should have some up movement to it. Generally, the candle should even close, but that's a whole month of a little bit of bullishness / a little bit of hope. Of course, with all the other volatile stuff, I wouldn't expect you to have a whole month of bullishness. I just don't think that's going to happen. And then, but thinking, yeah, I do have. I'm just thinking that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I do have some resistances here at 42, 47, and 37,793 from some of my earlier versions. But again, I will be able to share with you some more stuff in September, in the first week of October, when we start sharing the secrets of this version of sword method. That will confirm, and so possibly we'll get some new resistances. This map will still exist. It's just we may get some resistances up here in these areas, and so we'll have at least a resistance. So if it does go up to there, I don't have anything telling me that we're going to go there right now. I don't have anything telling me that that's really going to be the case right now. Everything's pointing to weaknesses. So perhaps if we do pump, it may not be anytime soon, and if it does, it's possibly going to be due to something else. I don't know what it would be, but at least I don't have the pump in my system. Anyone else?
Thank you, Jay.
No problem. No problem.
Jay, so, I was wondering if we have like a time frame, possibly on like. Do you think maybe this happens after when like Shiba goes to that next high we were looking at? So
you're asking me the time frame on when Bitcoin would go down? If where in the timeline would it happen between a Shiba movement up or a Shiba movement down? And then a Luna Classic, possibly. Is that kind of more or less your question?
Yeah, are we like a couple months off, or like are we in between the Shiba? Yeah, so you have no idea.
That's a great question, Nancy. I would say this. Personally, I don't know. I can only give you my opinion on it and putting some other story together. What I highly suspect, though, is that the Bitcoin movement down. No, you leave it here. I'm still munching on that. Thank you. The Bitcoin movement down for me is probably going to be stuff that's linked to the major player stuff. Meaning, I think that this is going to be the stuff that's going to happen closer to the end of October, first week of November. Okay. I think a lot of this big stuff is the stuff that affects the world. I don't think it's not the Shiba stuff that affects the world. It's not the Luna Classic stuff that affects the world. It's not that stuff. It is the Bitcoin stuff that affects the world and the movements of the world. Okay, just letting you guys know. That's because a lot of the exchanges, they trade Tether for Bitcoin. And what happens in this market affects the money markets of many exchanges and then affects other cryptos. The Shiba stuff is God stuff. It's people stuff. You know, that's those stuff, and it's just quick movements. Okay, the Shiba event will be a movement. From what I'm now understanding, a lot of some of the newer prophetic stuff it's telling us is, in addition to Shiba going up, it's also going to have a down movement and a down movement first. So I have my map showing that we're going to hit a higher number on Shiba, around 2050, which is not prophetic numbers. It's just what's on the map. It's like Shiba going up and hitting a number. But Bitcoin, but that number will lead us down and then up. And then the same with Luna Classic. Some of these moves will be so quick, it'll be in and out. I believe that those Shiba moves are going to happen before the Bitcoin moves. Okay, I believe that that's going to happen. That's one of my opinions. The other opinion is that the Shiba and Bitcoin both fall at the same time due to the hack. But instead of Bitcoin being the one majorly recovering, Shiba recovers really quick and then hits the prophetic number. Because somebody was recently speculating that they had a prophetic word that it was the same, that they saw Shiba hit a low number, and then because the algorithm failed. This is in alignment with Julie Green's prophecy, as well as some of the other prophecies, that some of these programs that suppress prices, these hacking programs, they hold the price down, but the price would go down, and then they would try to fix it by manually buying it, because there's manipulation that happens based on algorithms. There's suppression that happens on a manual way, and then there's suppressions that happen based on the algorithms. Okay, thank you. So what happens is, I think that that person said that they think that when the algorithm fails, the computers in these exchanges are going to try buy to try to get the price back up, because these exchanges also have a problem that I think a lot of people forget exists, and that problem is it's the same thing that happens in the stock market, and I'm gonna see if I remember the name for it. It's where you're shorting too much, and you get a margin call because you're shorting too much, and short squeeze. That's what it is, short squeeze. I think that these exchanges who are diving into Bitcoin and basically trading with your money, they're basically gambling with your money. You don't know they're doing this. A lot of them do it, and that's why they don't have the money to pay you, and that's why they often lock their own customers out of their accounts. I believe there's lots of exchanges that do this, and already some have been caught doing it. And so what happens is, I think that they're not expecting it. They're going to drive the prices up by manually buying. Otherwise, if they don't buy to help them, they'll get in prices stuck down at these low positions. They're going to get margin called, and then now they're going to owe all that money, and they're going to go bankrupt in 1 second. So they got to fix that problem and fix it quick. So many exchanges, and probably other financials, banks and stuff like that, a lot of financial institutions are going to try to contribute to buying manually to fix what was normally done and controlled by these advanced AI algorithms. So this probably will be a hack. I know all this sounds complex, but just know I'm trying to keep my eye on the various possibilities that can happen and some of the very real things that go on in the world of manipulation. I don't always talk about these things, especially publicly, but we do talk about them here on Dive from time to time. So when it comes to this, why would Shiba go down super low and go up and not Bitcoin? So the other option that I really suspect is that they will both go down at the same time. That makes the rest of it a little bit hard to predict. But if you see the hack happen, I would say buy up Shiba when it happens. Buy it up and do well. Okay, buy it up and then sell at some of these prophetic targets. And some of the prophetic targets that we heard were 13 cents. Somewhere, I heard one this morning that was $10. And there's some really insane numbers, and people saying there's not enough money in the world. It's possible that burns may happen during those times that contribute. It's possible that the wealth transfer. I mean, you're going to see literally some of these companies and major banks go bankrupt, and the money just immediately transfer and go out of there because of their blatant stealing and manipulation. I can't comment more on that. I'm just letting you guys know that it's scary what's going to happen to them. It's scary that's going to happen to them. This stuff is not on the charts. If God says it's going to happen, I believe it. This is most I can say. I think these hacks are going to transfer wealth. I think it's just going to be straight up transfer their money into your pockets. And there's going to be a new wealth transfer, and there's going to be a new 1% of the world that's created. Scary for them. Exciting for us. Bullishness on Shiba up to here. Okay, a new behavior before the next behavior. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, especially if Shibarium's out before then, Superfood. If Shibarium's out before then it's going to add to the chaos. It's not the chaos. It's going to add to the buying. I mean, you're going to have a lot of people ready to go, and that money's just going to be moving over, and you're going to see money literally emptied from one account and just poured into other accounts, and it's going to be chaos for them. Okay, some people say, oh, that money doesn't exist. Well, you'd be surprised at how much money these other players who've been playing against you for years and winning actually have, and their power is going to be depleted from them too. There's another warning. Pray about it. If these things happen, I've been told that there's going to be a possibility that there will be an internet shutdown. If this is the case, you will possibly see an internet shutdown because they're going to try to fix the system, right? And there's a reboot that they may have to do, a time of manual fixing. If they're seeing that the systems have been hacked, they don't need to consult one of their backup systems and then completely use a backup server or whatever they need to do, right? These are advanced programs playing against other advanced programs, and it's very possible. It's look, somebody in the chat saying, "Yep, you're right. You're right. My theory about Shibarium will be get the crush, the reboot." He's saying the word reboot. Somebody in our group. So this is really very, very possible. You may see the internet go down for, and maybe that's the start of the internet crash for 10 days. Prophet Robin was really interested. The 10 days of darkness that some people in some Intel communities say. Prophet Robin said something. Robin Cunningham, on his channel, he said something very interesting in his video. He said he saw the economy take a very, very big nosedive for a very brief amount of time. He said it was down for just like a little bit. He saw markets falls and cryptocurrencies fall. He saw it go down. Now, what would affect that? Internet outage. What would affect the recovery of that? Because normally that would be really bad. What would affect the recovery about it? You know what I really suspect? I believe these are around the times that you may see information about 45. Mr. 45, you guys know who I'm talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this time that people have hope again. Something that might be tied to that. I wouldn't be surprised if that stuff is announced after all the bad stuff. And I also suspect that the bad stuff has to happen under Mr. 46's watch. Okay, so a lot of the bad stuff that needs to still happen now before things get better. Otherwise, somebody else will take credit for it. Okay, somebody else may take credit for it, and you know who that is, and you know that the good guys may not want that to happen. So take that for what it is. That's your a little bit of a conspiracy for this morning. Although this is coffee. White Swan, sorry, Black Swan. Just a various stuff. Again, we have to keep our eyes on so many stuff, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy with the capital Q. When are you gonna get that joke? I just made that joke right now. What do you think? Mel was like, I don't understand.